Hey guys, I just wanted to make a little video today because it was on my heart to share. I was here at the hospital. I haven't been inside a hospital for a little while, which is a good thing. But for those of you that don't know my backstory, I'm a trauma surgical ICU nurse, and I worked in the healthcare field for a number of years, for pretty much the last 10 years of my life in one capacity or another throughout nursing school and what have you. And it's been a while since I had my daughter, and I haven't been back in the hospital really to spend any amount of time. And in being in that area this last week, it reminded me how much the people that often take care of us, the nurses, the doctors, the respiratory therapists, the physical therapists, they spend so much time taking care of other people that they themselves neglect their best health, their best habits. And I had firsthand knowledge of this. When I worked in the ICU in San Diego and in Arizona, I was privy to a lot of the same, scheduling obstacles that people deal with. I worked night shift, and oftentimes at night, because of the staffing, a lot of times the only nurses that really got breaks were the nurses that smoked. That's just the way it was. The nurses and the respiratory therapists that smoked, they would have people watch their patients and they would go out and smoke. And although that might, from an outsider's perspective, a non-smoker seem unfair or whatever, that was just, that's their way of release. That's their stress. And it's a very stressful area of the hospital to work in, the ICU. But it was always interesting to me that in the beginning, I would take note that, here are the people that are working with those that are on ventilators and this most severe of diseases, and yet they would go outside and smoke themselves and then come back in and take care of a patient. And then the eating habits, we work these long night shifts, and, there would be pizza called in or junk food, or people would bring in stuff for potlucks that would just sit on people's bellies, and it would just be an unhealthy environment. Whatever was quick and convenient, you grab it and go, because the changeover was quick, the hours were long. And I'm not saying that to complain, it's just the reality of the situation. And when patients bring in treats, they bring in baked goods or they bring in pizzas for the nurses, and so that's what often is there to share. And the people, again, that are there to take care of others are neglecting their best health, their best habits. So my journey goes something like this. I started watching all this, and I got sucked in. Plain and simple. I got sucked into the same behaviors and habits because it's easy to do. It's the easiest thing to do, to grab what's convenient. It's easy to say, okay, I want somebody to watch my patient, so I'm going to go out with you. I don't smoke, but I'm going to go out with you. And then you do that for 5, 6, 7 times. And then the next thing you know, you're like, all right, it's been a really shitty, stressful night. I'm going to bum one of those. And you have a cigarette. And I did. And it started to become a habit. It was only at work, but it became a habit. And I would go out to have the smoke. And I caught myself in this horrible habit that I was getting into, and I was like, wake up. Here you are taking care of patients that are getting cancer, that are having health issues, and you're going and polluting your body. You're not sleeping well, you're not eating right. So once I moved to California, I had already been teaching spin when I was in Arizona. That was my way to make sure that I was getting to the gym. I got certified to teach spin, and I was going to the studio, and I was active, but I still hadn't let go of the other bad habits until I got to California, and I got certified to be a yoga instructor, and I plugged back into Beachbody hardcore, and I decided I wasn't going to compromise my health anymore. And when I started to do that, the whole thing shifted. My whole life, my whole perception started to shift. I started to take an investment in getting up earlier before I went to work to get a workout or a yoga class. I took an investment into shopping the farmers markets and eating whole fresh foods and vegetables and looking up recipes and plugging into communities online that had other people like me that were interested in taking a proactive approach to their life, to their health. And when I did that, when the change occurred in me to take the initiative and to stop making excuses, and in all the energy I was expending to make excuses, I put toward finding answers and making it happen in my life, that's when the change occurred. That's when I never had to yo-yo again. I would back and forth with my weight, and I would be plus 10 and under 10. And even when I was thin, I was an unhealthy thin. I looked sickly instead of vital and energetic and muscular and felt good about my body and about my confidence and about overall health. When I was in the early stages of nursing school and even the later stages of nursing school, I was on antidepressants. I had, like I said, I started smoking off and on so that I could go out and have the breaks. I ate crap, I ate garbage. And what changed was me. I changed what I was going to accept in my life as the baseline. I changed what I was going to settle for, and that my standards were going to be that I was going to take the investment. And so I started that journey, and it was a process. It wasn't something that happened overnight. It was something that occurred. And if you've watched my transformation video, you know that I had that back and forth. I struggled with an eating disorder. I struggled with hurdles that many of you can relate to. But what I want you to take away from this is that you can do it too. You can, wherever you are in your life, even if you're not a healthcare professional, which I have an abundant passion to want to help other healthcare professionals get out of those bad habits, because you guys deserve it. You spend so much of your lives giving of yourself to others and so many hours and so much energy that you need to have something left over for you. You need to have an investment. And so it's one of my missions to help other nurses, doctors, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, and people in that industry to say, I'm not going to settle anymore, and I'm not going to compromise for myself and my family. I need to take better care of my health and my body. So I want to help you do that, but I also want those of you that aren't in that industry to take away that you can too. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. We all could be more tuned in and dialed into what's good for us. Just because it's in the supermarket, ready prepackaged to buy, does not mean that it's going to be good for you in your best health. Do your due diligence. Pay attention to when you put things in your body, how it makes you feel, to how you sleep, how you digest foods, what time of day is better. There's no one size fits all, guys. And no matter how many people plug it or say that it works, there's no wrap, there's no pill, there's no drink that magic cures it. I'm a believer in Shakeology because it works for me. I'm a believer in the home workouts because that works for my life. And so yes, I lead with those things, but by all means, everybody has to figure out what works for them. And so as a coach, I want to tell you, be your biggest advocate. Be your own coach and say, I'm done as of today making excuses, and that energy I'm taking and I'm putting it toward something that's going to benefit me, benefit my health and my family and my future, so that I can really make changes. And if you need help in that process, I'm here for you. I want to show you that, wherever you are right now is the jumping off point. Put a big smile on your face, because that person has courage enough to take the rest of this journey, and I'm willing to do it with you. I have groups where I support you. I do mentorships. I even bring you on as a coach if you want to learn how to do what I do and help pay it forward and pass it along to other people that need this in their lives, because the only way it's going to happen and the only way we can make a difference is if we cause that ripple effect, and it starts with you. So I hope that this meets you in a space of heart, that you acknowledge that I've been there too, that other people have, and that the only thing that separates you from them or from me is the fact that I haven't given up and I won't give up, and that if you want to start, I'm going to walk on this journey with you, take this road with you. So I hope that you took something away from this. Please share or reach out to me, start a conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Bye, guys.